Shabbat Shalom. Oh, it is so good to hear all of your voices and to be with you tonight. My name is Rabbi Alyssa Platkow. I'm joined by the ever musical and talented Cantor Isaac Sonnet Asor. Amen, that's right. So you just heard the tune of Dodi Lee, and we've been doing it now for the past in honor of the Israeli Valentine's Day, Tu B'Av. And that's this holiday of love, and Dodi Li, I am my beloved and my beloved is mine, really encompasses that love. But now as we move toward the high holidays, and in fact we're going to welcome the very last month of the year, moving into the high holidays on Tuesday, the month of Elul, you might recognize that Ani Dodi V'Dodi Li has something in common with the word Elul. Each of the first letters, spell out the word Elul. Ani Dodi V'Dodi Li. And this is to
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
So within this theme of deep love, when we sanctify our fruit of the vine for Shabbat, it's our custom to also share some moments of deep love or even simcha, some moments of joy that we've had either since the last time we were here in shul or maybe even in the past week. So at this point, I'll invite anybody who has had one of these moments of simcha this week or since the last time they were here in shul in synagogue, I'll invite you to share. Oh, you're turning 17 today? Since last time. Okay, happy birthday, Hayom Huledet Sameach. Anybody over here? Any moments of simcha, moments of big joy, big love? Anything over here?
Or small joy.
Oh,
big
small joy, big love. That's good too. That's right.
We've got.
Oh yeah. That's great. Thank you. That's certainly a lot of joy. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Wow, some family love. Gail? Beautiful.
If I might share a shared simcha.
Oh, a shared.
Which is that on September 1st, our Rabbi Platkow will be celebrating her birthday. So be sure to wish her a birthday.
And our Cantor Sonnet Asor will be celebrating his 5th anniversary.
The same day. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's a coming simcha, I guess. So at this point, with all of that simcha in our hearts, we will raise our cup of fruit of the vine. And maybe I'll say a few more words and stall as each of you get a cup of fruit of the vine. And we will really have the simcha this joy within our hearts.
Even if you get your fruit of the vine as it comes around, by the time you reach Amen, you will have your fruit of the vine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzahavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit כי הוא יום דחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. L'chaim.
Page 128.
Dodi, oh, are we here? Ani Ledodi, Vidodi Li, is one of our mottos or catchphrases of Elul. Another one is Hamelech Basadeh, and we'll be discussing that a little bit later in the service, but the 16th century Kabbalists, every Friday night, they dress up all in white and they would go to their sadeh, their field. And it was there that they would welcome in the Sabbath bride because it was there that they felt the most holy. I'd like to invite you to take a minute and reflect on your week. When was a moment in which you felt holy? It could have been a moment when you walked outside and either it was felt the sun on your skin and it just felt warm. It could have been a moment, a spark of connection. Maybe you made a new acquaintance or friend, or maybe you got to embrace someone you hadn't seen in a long time. Or it could have been the 5 minutes that you sat down on the couch and no one bothered you. Whatever your holy moment was, let's take a minute and reflect. Just a moment, we'll rise for our final verse of Lecha Dodi, and we'll greet our Sabbath bride. At that moment, to bring this holy moment to the forefront of your mind so that we can all be in holiness together. Lecha Dodi, page 138.
kala pnei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela shamor v'zachor b'diburecha Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shemo tiperet elitila echad odi Likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat u'benelcha
Mechor haberacha Meirosh mikadem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila Echad odi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Echad odi
Likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri Ki ba'orech kumi ori Uri shir daberi Kevod Adonai alayich nigla Echad odi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Echad odi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela
Boi v'shalom ateret bala Gam v'simcha uv'tzoala Toch emunei am segula Boi chala
Echad odi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Echad odi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Page 146
We remain standing.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach
Baruch Adonai Amvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed
Page 150.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Ki hem chayenu Be'orech yameinu U'bahem negeh Yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatcha Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malechuto, Leolam, Leolam Vaed.
We are seated, page 154. Lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Been 58 on this weekend of Labor Day, on this day of the appreciation of work and the separation of work and the holiness of Shabbat and the holy. This is, in a sense, I guess, the first labor song, the first song for the appreciation of freedom, not from servitude, but for the quest to find meaningful work. We sing Mi Chamocha, page 158. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai, Kal Yisrael. Our psalm of the season, Achat Sha'alti Me'et Adonai, this one thing I ask of you, God, that we sing all throughout this season of return. It gives us the language of the shelter of God's sukkah. It gives us the shade of God's ohel, God's tent. Our last weekend in the tent, I'm actually very sad about that. I love being out in the tent. I love our sanctuary, though. All throughout these days of return, may we be granted the Psalm's one request. Just this one thing would I ask, to live in God's home, wherever that is, all of the days of my life. page 161. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom amo Israel. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Page 164. You may rise as you are able. Adonai, Sefatai tiftach, Ufi yagi, Tehilatecha. Open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagipor ve'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Akol, ve'Zocher Chasadei Avot ve'imaot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך פעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
It's at this time in our service that we are actually truly able to be in the presence of God. So I'll invite you to stand or sit as is your custom. And we have the liturgy for silent prayer now, either in Hebrew, in English, or the liturgy of our hearts. שאלתי מאת אדוני, אחת שאלתי אותה אבקש.
שבתי, שבתי, בבית אדוני. שבתי, שבתי, כל ימי חיי, לחזות בנועם אדוני. ולבקר בהיכלו. לחזות בנועם אדוני. To gaze upon the beauty of Adonai. One thing I ask you, Adonai, to
Shabbat Shalom. So the moment in which we talk about HaMelech Basadeh has come. There you go. So we have this week, our Parsha is Parshat Re'eh, and by the end of the first text, you will have the text in front of you, and those online, you should already have the text in front of you. It's in the description of the YouTube or the Facebook feed that you're watching, or perhaps on our website. So Parshat Re'eh is the Parsha this week, and it literally means see, which fits quite well because we're going to talk about how we may literally or perhaps figuratively see God in our lives. If you have the text in front of you, our first piece, this is from Parshat Re'eh, says, "But look only to the site that your God Adonai will choose amidst all your tribes as God's habitation to establish the divine name there. There you are to go." So this verse actually begins a dichotomy in our philosophy or theology of where we can find God, right? If you look at the Peshat, the simple meaning of the text, you'll see, where can we find God? Anybody? Where can we find God? Well, I'm hearing everywhere, but if you look at the text that we just read, we're going to try again. "But look only to the site that your God Adonai will choose amidst all of your tribes." So let's try one more time. Where can we find God? Oh my gosh, there are so many different answers. So Rashi, our medieval scholar, and also most of his compatriots, most of his contemporaries, most medieval scholars, they will say that we're going with the Pshat. It says that you can only find God in the place that God chooses. And that specifically is talking about the temple. And Rashi backs this up saying, and we know that that's where God is because don't you remember when we were wandering around the desert? Where was God to be found? It wasn't just everywhere. It was specifically in the cloud above the Holy of Holies. God was found in that place only. That's when God was amidst the Israelites. But our more modern commentators read it a little bit differently. They say we are actually able to experience God in any place, like all of you said, everywhere, in any place in which God chooses to be experienced. So we might be familiar with Abraham Joshua Heschel, who says, look around you. And today we can actually look around ourselves and see this beautiful nature that surrounds us. Obviously, God is there because how could this have happened without God? And Martin Buber, another philosopher, he says, actually, one of the places that we find God is between each other when we are deeply, deeply engaged with one another. That spark of connection, that's God. And then when we come to this time of year, the time of Elul, the revving up to the high holidays, we have another place in which we can find God. And Rabbi Shneur Zalman, also known as the Alter Rebbe, who's a late 18th century rabbi, he talks about where we can find God, and he says, HaMelech Basadeh, the king is in the field. And I'll just read this parable that he writes. We're going to start on the second line. The king's usual place is in the capital city, in the royal place, in the royal palace. Anyone wishing to approach the king must go through in the palace bureaucracy and gain the approval of a succession of secretaries and ministers. Then a person must journey to the capital and pass through the many gates, corridors, and antechambers that lead to the throne room. I have to say, it sounds like a headache. His presentation, the person's presentation, meticulously prepared, and they must adhere to an exacting dress code, speech, and mannerism upon entering into the royal presence. So there are so many barriers to get to the king or to get to royalty when the king is in the palace or the royalty is in the... We have to go through minister after minister, secretary after secretary, and not just people barriers, not just the barriers of bureaucracy, of physical walls. We have to trek all the way to get to the palace and then move from antechamber to antechamber to antechamber until we are finally in the presence of the royal person. So we keep reading. However, okay, there are times when the king comes out to the fields outside the city. At such times, anyone can approach the king. The king receives them all with a smiling face and countenance. And if we were to read this in the Hebrew, Rabbi Zalman, him al panim. Panim means face. The king and the people are face to face. There no longer is the barrier of bureaucracy. There no longer is the barrier of physical walls set behind his plow, has access to the king in a manner unavailable to the highest ranking minister in the royal court when the king is in the palace. So Hamelech Basadeh, let's just translate that because I keep saying it and I'm not sure if we know exactly what it means. Hamelech literally means the king, in this case, the royalty perhaps. Basadeh is in the field. So this reading that we just did, it's called a mashal in Hebrew, which literally means
the doctor is in.
That's right. The doctor is in. Okay.
God is available to us.
God is available to us. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else? Any other ideas? Yeah, Pete. The hand of God can be in our work. Oh my gosh, amen to that. Beautiful, beautiful. Actually, perhaps while we're going day to day to day, at this time, Hamelch Basadeh means that God isn't only here in the synagogue when we're in tefillah, when we're in services, but actually, how do we create a sense of holiness? How do we bring God into the everyday things that we do in our jobs, preparing for the high holidays? But it might not be so easy for us all. Anybody else? What does it mean, Hamelch Basadeh?
When we're in the field, we have the ability to interact and engage with God face to face. So it's empowering, and maybe why these sages went into the field to pray.
Beautiful. So the sages went into the feeling moment in which we can actually face God. Beautiful. So we'll move to our next text that will show us. Oh, and I guess my text flew away. Oh, thank you.
I got you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Okay. So when Rabbi Plack, we talked about if there really is something actually different about the time that we're in as we're leading into the holidays. That is, there really a time that the queen chooses to go out into the field. Maybe the queen is always in the field. I was thinking, well, maybe there's no difference, at least anymore, than there's a difference about what makes a birthday, or an anniversary, or a yahrzeit, right? That these are invitations. Each of these are invitations to focus on the things that we put off because of the busyness of life. So maybe the king, maybe the queen is frequently going out for strolls in the field, but our heads are too down to actually notice. And perhaps that's what the beauty of Elul is, that this is an invitation to each of us. It's an invitation to go to the office hours. Who went to office hours when they were in school? I never went to office hours. Now I wish I had office hours. To go to the Queen's office hours or her field hours. So often we're looking at this text. This is an excerpt from, again, that Psalm of the season. And so often in the text we talk